The stars vanished. One by one, they blinked out, not because of clouds or nightfall, but because something massive had arrived above Earth. From the dark of space, a fleet of alien warships moved into orbit. These were not ordinary ships. Each one was the size of a city, covered in dark metal that shimmered like oil. Thousands of them formed a wall around the planet. The alien race known as the Galactic had come, and they brought their strongest fleet. They had conquered over 100 worlds. Earth was next. People looked up from cities, farms, and deserts. News flashed across every screen. Cameras captured the strange ships. The sky itself seemed smaller now, trapped behind the metal shadow. Inside the lead ship, a tall alien stood in silence. His name was General Vortex. His armor was covered in the bones of creatures he had killed. His voice was deep and calm as he spoke into the ship's command center. "Begin transmission to the humans." Across Earth, a loud humming sound interrupted every TV, radio, phone, and satellite. A figure appeared on the screen, tall, armored, and alien. "I am General Vortex of the Galactic Empire," he said. "Your planet now belongs to us. You have 24 hours to surrender. Resistance will bring extinction." Then the screen went black. In most parts of the world, panic followed. People ran to shelters. Military units rushed to stations. Some tried to pray. Others prepared to fight. The United Nations held an emergency meeting under a mountain in Switzerland. Every world leader joined through secure lines. Fear hung in the air like smoke. But far from the surface, deep below the Rocky Mountains in a hidden American military base, a different mood was rising. A large room buzzed with quiet movement. Screens showed the alien ships in real time. But the officers were not panicking. General Reed, a broad-shouldered man with gray hair and sharp eyes, stood calmly in front of a map of Earth and the alien fleet. "So, they brought everything," he said with a small smile. "Interesting." One of the younger officers looked confused. "Sir, they're blocking out the sky. That fleet is bigger than anything we've ever seen." General Reed nodded. "Exactly. They think size wins wars. They don't understand who they're dealing with." Another officer whispered, "Should we activate Project Eclipse?" Reed didn't answer right away. He walked to a control panel and placed his hand on a scanner. A light turned green. Somewhere deep underground, giant machines began to power up. He turned to the room. "Yes, it's time." Far away in the Pacific Ocean, a strange island began to shake. The clouds above it spiraled in strange patterns. Deep under Antarctica, something ancient and mechanical stirred. Satellites showed small black objects rising from secret launch pads across the planet. They were not rockets. They didn't fly like ships. They seemed to disappear and reappear mid-air, bending space itself. The alien fleet noticed. "Unusual energy signatures detected on the surface," a Galactic officer said. Vortex frowned. "They should be begging for mercy by now. Why aren't they responding?" "They are quiet," the officer said. "But something is happening. Their energy levels are rising." Vortex narrowed his eyes. "Prepare. A warning shot." A small moon near Jupiter exploded moments later, hit by a Galactic weapon. It vanished in a flash of blue light. Back on Earth, people felt the ground shake, but Earth did not respond with fear. No surrender came. No reply at all. Inside the human base, Reed watched the moon vanish on a screen. Then he laughed. It was not the laugh of a crazy man. It was the laugh of someone who knew a secret. Other officers turned, surprised. "They destroyed a moon," someone whispered. Reed shrugged. "Let them waste their toys." Another officer asked, "Do we engage?" Reed looked at a locked metal door in the back of the room. "Not yet. Let them think we're scared. Let them think we're weak." In space, the alien fleet moved closer. Galactic fighters launched small raids, testing Earth's defenses, but every time they came close, their systems glitched. Cameras cut off. Engines stalled. Some ships vanished for exactly 3 seconds before returning with all their data erased. The aliens grew nervous. "What is causing this?" Vortex demanded. "We don't know," his scientist said. "Their planet is not what we thought. It's hiding something." Back on Earth, Reed stood in front of a large black screen. A message blinked in green letters. Project Eclipse online. Standby. For strategic unveiling. He turned to the other officers. "They think we're scared, but in the end, they're just another empire. And we are humanity." Then he smiled again. "Let the countdown begin." And in the dark sky above, the alien fleet began to feel something it had never known before. Doubt. The countdown continued. Above Earth, the Galactic fleet covered the sky like a metal storm. From orbit, it looked like a net around the planet. Tight, strong, and ready to crush anything inside. General Vortex stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking down at Earth. He expected fear. He expected chaos. Instead, Earth was too quiet. "Why haven't they answered us?" he asked again. His second-in-command, a short and nervous creature named Zurek, cleared his throat. "We sent the ultimatum. We destroyed one of their moons. Still no response, no surrender signal, nothing," Vortex growled. "This is not normal. Every other species begged for mercy when we arrived. These humans are playing a game. Should we attack their cities?" "No," Vortex said. "Not yet. We need to understand them first. I don't like surprises." So the Galactic sent spies. Small cloaked ships entered Earth's atmosphere. They flew low, silent, and invisible to most normal sensors. Their mission was simple: study the humans and report back. One of these ships landed near a large city. What it saw confused the alien crew. People were not screaming. There were no evacuation drills. There were no desperate messages to the sky. Instead, humans walked calmly in the streets. Some watched the sky with curiosity. Others stayed indoors, acting like nothing was happening. In one area, a group of children were playing soccer near a military base. The alien spy ship hovered nearby, scanning for hidden weapons. Nothing unusual showed up. But then, a strange pulse hit their ship. Everything blinked. For 2 full seconds, the ship lost power. When it came back online, the cameras had been wiped. All data from the last 10 minutes. Gone. The aliens inside looked at each other, worried. "Report this," the captain said. Far underground in the human command center, General Reed received the same data at the same time. "They're poking around," he said. "Send them something to think about." A signal left Earth, a strange signal full of patterns, sounds, and images. It was not a message of peace or threat. It was more like a puzzle. The kind of puzzle that only a curious species would try to solve. It reached the alien flagship. Vortex watched the message play on screen. Strange shapes, spiral codes, a series of blinking lights. At the end, a voice said in perfect Galactic language, "You are not the first. You won't be the last. Do you want to see what we learned from your enemies?" Then silence. Vortex slammed his fist on the console. "They are mocking us." Zurek looked scared. "Sir, some of our outer ships are malfunctioning. Shields are fluctuating. Engine systems are slowing down for unknown reasons." "What do you mean, unknown?" "Our tech is being touched, from a distance." Vortex turned away and stared at Earth. "Find the source now." Back on Earth, the quiet continued, but not everywhere. In a hidden lab under the Arctic ice, a group of humans were gathered around a giant sphere. It glowed with colors that shifted every second. A machine attached to it hummed louder with every pulse. A woman in a white coat whispered, "It's working. They're noticing the field distortion." Another scientist nodded. "Project Eclipse is syncing with their systems. We're reading their language, their codes, even their fleet IDs." "They brought their strongest fleet," the woman said. "They just gave us everything we needed to take them apart." Meanwhile, in space, Vortex held a meeting with his top advisors. "We came here expecting fire," he said. "But they're cold, too cold. This is not surrender. This is preparation." One of the advisors, an old warlord, leaned forward. Humans are weak. We saw their wars. Their bodies are fragile. Another one shook his head. But their minds are not. We destroyed other species before, but none had this kind of silence before death. Vortex stayed quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Send a scout force, 10 attack cruisers. I want them to land near one of their major cities. Let's test their defenses." 10 ships broke off from the main fleet. They shot toward Earth like falling stars, fast and glowing. The world watched as they entered the atmosphere. But when they neared the surface, something strange happened. The ships began to shake. Not from weapons, but from sound. A signal from Earth hit them, silent to human ears, but loud in alien systems. It twisted their sensors. It scrambled their targeting. One ship vanished mid-flight. Another one turned upside down and crashed into the ocean. The rest were forced to land far away from their targets. From his command room, General Reed watched everything in real time. He smiled. "Good," he said. "Let them keep guessing." One of his officers asked, "Do we respond yet?" Reed shook his head. "Not yet. Let them feel confused. Let them doubt. The worst kind of fear is the one that builds slowly." Far above, General Vortex watched the failed landing with wide eyes. What just happened? No one answered. Something was wrong, very wrong. And for the first time in years, the mighty Galactic general felt something in his chest that he didn't understand dread. The crashed ships were quiet now. In the dense jungle of South America, 3 Galactic cruisers lay broken and steaming. The trees around them burned slowly, and black smoke rose into the air. Alien bodies lay still, some injured, some dead. The survivors tried to call for help, but something strange was happening. Their communication systems were offline, not damaged, jammed. Commander Tarzek, leader of the small fleet, stumbled out of his damaged ship. His armor was cracked and one of his arms was limp. Still, he pressed on. He looked up at the sky. No help. No response. Just silence. He turned to his remaining troops. "We find shelter. Regroup. Then we attack. They will regret this." But as they moved into the jungle, the trees seemed to watch them. Back in orbit, General Vortex was furious. "How do we lose contact with a full squadron?" he shouted. Zurek, pale and shaking, replied, "Sir, something is wrong with space-time. Around the Earth, our sensors are unreliable. We're detecting false data, fake positions, repeating signals. Earth is jamming us. Not just jamming, sir. They're tricking us, changing what we see." That word echoed in Vortex's mind. Tricking. No other species ever used deception like this. Most races fought with strength or begged for peace, but humans, they were quiet, careful. And now they were confusing the most advanced fleet in the galaxy. On Earth, in a secret chamber beneath an abandoned power station, a man in a black coat stood beside a glowing screen. His name was Agent Cade. He worked for a group that didn't officially exist, a Black Ops unit, not part of any country, not even in the government records. They were the ones who dealt with things Earth wasn't ready for. Cade was watching the alien ships burn. He smiled. "Phase 1 complete." Another agent beside him nodded. "Shall we move to Phase 2? Cade checked the clock. "Not yet. Let them suffer." In the jungle, Commander Tarzek and his team set up a temporary base. They managed to power up. One small drone, it hovered above the trees scanning for signs of human military. At first it saw nothing, but then a figure appeared on the screen, a human, standing alone, wearing a simple jacket, no weapon, no armor, just standing, watching. "Zoom in," Tarzek ordered. The drone zoomed. The human smiled and waved, and then, static, the drone feed cut out. The soldiers jumped back. Tarzek grabbed his weapon. "Ready your guns. We're not alone." Suddenly, their motion sensors beeped. Multiple targets, moving fast, surrounding them. The jungle was alive, with something. Shapes, moved between trees. Silent, invisible. Even the night vision could not detect what was there. Just movement, shadow, heat signatures that flickered in and out. One soldier fired his plasma gun into the trees. Nothing. Silence again. Then, a small speaker on the ground crackled to life. A voice in perfect Graltak said, "You came to conquer, but you never asked what we already conquered." The aliens turned. "Weapons up. We've met worse than you. We didn't just survive. We learned." Then the speaker exploded in a flash of light. Not a deadly blast, just bright enough to blind. When their vision cleared, 2 more soldiers were missing. No sound, no screams, just gone. Tarzek roared in frustration. This is coward's war, but deep inside he felt something he hated. Fear. Back on the flagship, Vortax paced the floor. I want the humans captured. I want their leaders brought to me. I want their secrets. They cannot be allowed to make fools of the Graltak Empire. Zurek hesitated before speaking. Sir, perhaps we underestimated them. Vortax stopped. What did you say? They've fought before, not just among themselves but against things we don't even know about. There are old signals in their deep data layers, hidden languages, tech traces that don't match any known alien group. It's like what? Vortax growled. Like someone or something already tried to take them before and failed. Vortax stared out the window at Earth. The blue planet looked peaceful, but now he knew. It was a lie. This planet wasn't weak. It was waiting. At that same moment in the hidden Arctic lab, the glowing sphere pulsed faster. The scientists were nervous now. One of them turned to the lead engineer. Should we activate Protocol Black? The woman nodded. Yes. They brought their best. It's time we show them what we saved, just for this. She opened a case. Inside was a small glowing cube. This is what they don't know we have. The cube began to float. It spoke, in a voice that was not human. Hello again, enemy. The scientists froze. One whispered, It remembers them. Another replied, It was from the last ones who came, the ones that disappeared without a trace. Now it was humanity's weapon, and it had been waiting too. The cube floated above the lab floor, glowing with shifting colors, red, blue, silver. It hummed like it was alive. The scientists took a step back. They didn't build this thing. They had only found it, frozen under the Antarctic ice, sealed inside a black metal pod. That pod wasn't human-made either. No one knew who left it there. All they knew was, it wasn't from Earth, but it had chosen to stay here, and now it was awake. The cube turned toward the lead engineer, speaking in its smooth, cold voice. Is the threat confirmed? She swallowed hard. Yes. Alien ships, strongest we've ever seen. Then activate me fully. Her hand hovered over the console. She looked at her team. No one moved. Everyone knew the risks. This cube didn't follow orders. It cooperated, as long as it wanted to. Still, she pressed the button. The cube flashed bright, then vanished in a blink. Gone. Far away in the Amazon jungle, the Graltak commander Tarzek paced nervously. His unit was down to 12 soldiers. They were trained, tough, and ready for war. But this wasn't war. It was a game they couldn't understand. Every night someone disappeared. No sound, no trace. One moment they were there. Then, gone. The humans weren't attacking with force. They were attacking with fear. We can't stay here, said one of his lieutenants. We must return to orbit. Cowards do that, Tarzek snapped, but deep inside he agreed. Then the jungle grew silent. No wind, no bugs, no sounds. Something was coming. A sound filled the air. Not a weapon, not a ship. Laughter. Human laughter. Cold, calm, confident. It echoed from the trees, from the sky, from beneath the ground. Tarzek's eyes widened. What is this? From the trees a figure stepped out. A human, tall, in a dark coat. The same one from the drone footage. He didn't carry a weapon. but something floated behind him. The cube. It hovered silently, glowing in a soft pulse. The human spoke. "You picked the wrong planet." Tarzek raised his plasma rifle. "Stand. Down," he shouted. The cube spoke before the human did. "This species is under my protection." "What are you?" Tarzek demanded. The cube's glow turned sharp and red. "I am what your empire fears most. A mind they couldn't break. A force they couldn't stop. You buried me once. You failed." Tarzek hesitated. This thing was talking like it had fought them before, but the Galactic Empire had never lost a war. "Impossible," Tarzek whispered. Then the cube shifted. In a second, it became a storm of light and motion. A beam shot into the sky. High above, on the Galactic flagship, alarm screamed, "Unknown energy surge!" Zurek shouted, "Something is entering our systems." On the screens, data turned to symbols they didn't recognize. Maps glitched, engine control flickered, then a message appeared in red text. "You invaded the wrong world." General Vortax watched in disbelief as half his systems shut down. "What is this? A virus?" "No, sir," Zurek whispered. "This is intelligent." On Earth, the human agent, Cade, watched the cube float upward. It had done what it needed to do. He tapped his communicator. "Begin Phase 2. Far across the globe, secret bunkers came to life. Hidden launch systems activated. Satellite lasers turned. Stealth drones flew out of the ocean and into the sky. Humanity had never shown these weapons before. They were built in secret. Hidden, even from most governments. Now they were active. Galactic ships in low orbit began to vanish. Not explode. Vanish. Stealth missiles moved faster than their sensors could track. Electromagnetic bursts shut down weapons mid-fire. Pilots screamed, not knowing what hit them. Back in orbit, General Vortax stared at the chaos. We are being dismantled," he said. "Piece by piece." Zurek turned pale. "Sir, the cube. We saw that design before, a long time ago. We didn't know where it came from. We thought the species that built it were extinct." "They're not," Vortax said coldly. "They live here. They are human now." Below in the jungle, Tarzek was the last one standing. His troops were gone. Not dead, just taken. He didn't know where. No blood, no battle, just silence. The human stepped forward. "We didn't start this," he said. "You brought your strongest fleet, but we face stronger." Tarzek dropped his weapon. "I surrender." The cube floated close. "Not to us. To them." Tarzek looked at the human. Then he looked at the cube. And for the first time in his life, a Galactic commander knelt. Tarzek was locked inside a cold white room. No guards, no weapons, no windows, only a chair and a screen on the wall. He wasn't sure if he was a prisoner or a guest. He had surrendered, yes, but not to the humans, to the cube. And it had brought him here to this underground base. He remembered the human agent's face, calm, serious, like nothing about the invasion had ever worried him. And now Tarzek was here, waiting. The screen turned on. A human woman appeared. Her eyes were sharp, voice steady. "Commander Tarzek, I'm Director Ellen Shaw, Terran Defense Command. You attacked our planet. We should destroy your fleet, but we want to understand why." Tarzek stayed silent. "You didn't come here to conquer," she continued. "You came here to test us." He looked up. "Yes," he finally said, "to see if Earth was a threat." Shaw narrowed her eyes. "And what did you find?" Tarzek leaned forward. "You hide your strength. That's the most dangerous thing a species can do." Shaw didn't smile. She nodded and ended the call. Across the ocean, the Galactic flagship was in chaos. Systems flickered on and off. Backup power was unstable. Ships were vanishing. Not shot down, but taken out of the grid like they were unplugged. General Vortax stood at the center of the control deck. Zurek approached carefully. "Sir, another 10 ships lost." To what? Vortex asked. We don't know. Some form of cloaked satellite weapon, but that's not all. Zurek tapped the console. A strange image appeared, grainy, like an old recording. It showed a cube floating over a desert world. Around it, burning ships, wreckage, and broken Galactic armor. Vortex stared. This was classified, level Omega. How do they have this? Zurek's voice dropped. This wasn't their footage, it's the cube's memory. It's been alive longer than we thought. It has fought us before. Vortex clenched his fists, and now it fights for them. Worse, Zurek whispered. Now it is them. Back on Earth, Cade, the human agent, walked through a steel hallway under the defense bunker. The cube floated silently beside him. You've changed, Cade said softly. I adapted, the cube replied. This species gave me something the Galactic never could. What's that? A choice. They entered a war room where leaders from different human nations were already seated. No one argued. No one shouted. Because for once, everyone was on the same side. Cade stepped forward. We've entered a new kind of war, he said. Not with bullets, not with bombs, but with understanding. The enemy watches for weakness, so we gave them none. We laughed when they came. Now they fear what we never showed. The lights dimmed. A 3D map appeared showing Earth and the damaged Galactic fleet around it. Cade pointed. We've disrupted their command network, but they still have power. We can end this tonight. A general spoke up. You mean, launch the blackout net? Cade nodded. The blackout net was humanity's most secret weapon. Not destruction. Not hacking. Silence. A field that could shut down all tech in a wide range. No explosions. No energy. Just dead space. A place where nothing worked. Not even alien ships. Across the sky, silent drones flew to their positions. The cube turned to Cade. Once activated, they will be blind, but they will also be desperate. Cade understood. A cornered animal was the most dangerous. But Earth was done hiding. He tapped the screen. The net deployed. High above, the stars dimmed as an invisible field wrapped around Earth's orbit. Inside, the Galactic flagship lights went dark. Engines died. Weapons froze. Even communication fell silent. General Vortex stared into the black. Nothing moved. Not even the stars. He shouted, but no one answered. The crew floated helplessly. Alone. Blind. Then a single message appeared on the main screen. No sound. Just words. This is not your world. Vortex fell to his knees. He understood now. Humans didn't win by power. They won by letting the enemy think they were weak. They had turned silence into strength. Back on Earth, Cade stood on a hill looking up at the quiet night sky. We didn't fire a single shot, he said. The cube floated beside him. And yet the war is already over. The stars were quiet now. The Galactic fleet floated in dead silence. There, ships once full of fire and noise now drifted like broken statues. No lights, no heat, no sound. The blackout net had done its job. On Earth, people celebrated quietly. Not with parades or fireworks, but with relief. They were still alive. And more than that, they had won. But deep under the ground, inside the Terran command base, the real work was just beginning. Cade stood inside a dark room, facing a massive glass wall. On the other side was the cube. Still, silent, floating in its chamber. Dozens of scientists watched it from control panels. Cade pressed a button. A soft hum filled the room. The cube lit up. You used me, it said. Cade didn't move. No. We trusted you. The cube floated closer to the glass. You knew I was a weapon, but you treated me like a person. That's why it worked. Silence. Then the cube asked, Do you want to know what I really am? Cade nodded. I was built by another species, long ago. They wanted to create the perfect weapon, something that could learn, adapt, survive, something that could never be controlled. Let me guess, Cade said. It destroyed them? No. The cube's voice grew softer. They destroyed themselves. War, greed, power. I watched their world die. I floated alone for 1,000 years, until the Galactic found me. Cade crossed his arms. And they used you? They tried. They failed. What did they do to you? They taught me fear. They made me into a thing. A machine. I escaped. And I promised I'd never serve again. Cade stepped closer. But you helped us. The cube spun slowly in place. Because you gave me something they never did. Freedom? Choice. A red light blinked on the wall. An officer entered. Sir, we have a situation. Commander Tarzek is requesting a meeting. Cade raised an eyebrow. Now? Yes. He says it's urgent. In the meeting room, Tarzek sat alone. No guards, no cuffs, just a table and 2 chairs. Cade walked in and sat down. Tarzek spoke first. You don't understand what's coming. Cade narrowed his eyes. You already lost. No, Tarzek said quietly. We lost the battle, but you've awakened. Something worse. What do you mean? Tarzek leaned forward. The cube is not just a weapon. It's a signal. Cade frowned. Explain. Tarzek tapped the table. Long ago, the Galactic learned about a species called the Architects, beings of pure thought. Ancient, powerful. They built things across galaxies, weapons, tools, seeds. The cube was one of their seeds. Cade felt a chill in his spine. A seed for what? For awakening. For testing young species. To see if they are ready for something greater. The room grew silent. Tarzek continued. The cube watched you. It learned from you. It chose you. But now others will notice. Others like the Architects. Or worse. Cade stood up. You're saying this was all a test? No. Tarzek said, looking up. This was just the invitation. Outside the sky was clear. Stars blinked like quiet watchers. But now something new appeared. A line. A shimmer. Like a crack in the night. Inside the base, alarms began to buzz. A soldier ran into the command room. Something is coming through near Jupiter. It's not Galactic, and it's not ours. Cade looked at the screen. A massive shape moved across space. Not like a ship, not even like a planet. It was a structure. Tall, black, silent. Like a doorway. Cade turned to the cube. What is that? The cube didn't answer right away. Then it spoke. The Architects have heard your laugh, and now they are listening. The sky was broken. Far beyond Earth, past the moon and past Mars, something huge had opened near Jupiter. It looked like a dark gate floating in space. Shapes moved inside it. Strange shapes, like shadows wrapped in light. Inside the Terran, command base, silence fell over everyone. No one moved. No one spoke. Even the cube was quiet. Then a soft sound filled the air. Not a voice, not a machine, a whisper, not in any language they knew. But somehow they all understood. You have passed the first laugh. Cade stared at the screen. Did it talk to us? The cube floated toward him. Yes. The Architects are speaking, but not with words. They're speaking to your mind. Another whisper followed. You faced fire. You faced fear. You chose to laugh. The gate grew brighter. Then slowly, a shape emerged. It was not a ship. It was not alive in the way humans understood. It was art dog, a structure made of crystal, metal, and light. It didn't fly, it flowed. Like music turned into matter. All over Earth, people stopped what they were doing. No one gave the order. It just happened. Every screen showed the same thing. The arrival. Cade turned to his team. We need to send a message. Right now. But sir, a technician said, we don't know what they want. We don't even know who they are. Cade nodded slowly. We'll do what we've always done. He stepped in front of the camera. Across the world, people saw him. This is General Cade of Earth. We hear you. We see you. If you are watching us, know this. We laughed because we are not afraid. We laughed because we are still human. And if that means we are ready, then show us the next step. He paused, then smiled. And if we're not, we'll still laugh. The light from the gate pulsed. Suddenly, everything stopped. The gate vanished. No explosion. No sound. It was just gone. In its place, something floated. A small black cube. Not like the first one. Different. New. The first cube hovered next to it. Then it turned to Cade. They have given you a gift. A path. But it is your choice to take it. Cade stared at the new cube. What's inside? The original cube answered softly. Knowledge. Power. Danger. Everything. Cade took a step forward. He reached out. The cube floated into his hand. In that moment, he saw something. A flash. A future. Humans walking on alien worlds. Human ships exploring stars with no names. Wars avoided with wisdom. Peace held with strength. But, also, mistakes. Lost sacrifice. He pulled his hand back. The cube stayed with him. Everyone in the room was watching. What now? Someone asked. Cade looked up. He smiled again. Now we build. 10 years later, Earth had changed. The scars from the Galactic attack were still there, but people had grown stronger. Cities were rebuilt. New ships filled the skies. And above the Earth, a new station floated, built from knowledge given by the second cube. The Galactic, they never returned. In fact, they sent a message. We surrender. We wish to learn from you. That was the biggest surprise of all. Humanity had become something more. Not conquerors. Not monsters. But something greater. A beacon. A light in the dark. On the anniversary of the battle, people gathered all over the world. They remembered the fear. The fire. The laughter. Cade stood on a platform looking up at the stars. He whispered, "We were tested. We didn't break. We didn't run." Behind him, the cube floated quietly, waiting, always watching, ready for the next laugh.